loves, it's Sam. So today I'm going to be doing a get ready with me. Before we get started, I do want to thank Dossier for partnering up with me for a portion of this video. Dossier is a perfume brand. I've talked about them numerous times. I've been using Dossier for years and they're really great at like matching the perfumes to a T and not having to charge you an absolute fortune for the perfume. So the one that I'm going to be talking about today is called Woody Freesia. The top notes are freesia, blackcurrant, strawberry. The middle notes are rose, jasmine, and peach. And the base notes are patchouli, vanilla, blonde woods, and musk. And every single bottle will always look the same. And I like the fact that they put the notes right on the bottle, which makes it really convenient for me because then I can tell you guys exactly what they are. But it's also really nice for the actual consumer because then if you're like, hey, I'm really feeling like something fruity, you can read the notes and be like, oh, this is actually gonna work out for me, because a lot of the time you forget what these are like actually like inspired by. They do have these little cards, which makes it really nice because then you can like keep them and look back and be like, okay, now I know what it's inspired by. So the Woody Freesia is inspired by Armani C, and I actually don't own that one. I have the Armani My Way, but I don't have C. I like the fact that it has blackcurrant because that's why I got it. I love anything with blackcurrant, strawberry, and jasmine. Okay, so I can definitely smell the patchouli. It's definitely giving it that like spicy, kind of like rich. It's very warm. Oh, you do get a little bit of rose. As it dries down, you can kind of get a little bit more rose and less of that kind of like spicy patchouli, but you can definitely smell that there are woods. It is kind of like a very subtle woodsy scent. The patchouli gives it a spice. There's definitely like a floral kind of like something to it. But then as it settles, you can smell the peach and the blackcurrant. And it is kind of sweet. Like I can tell that there's vanilla in it. I don't really smell strawberry very much. As it sets a lot nicer. It's like a little bit more subtle and you can smell a little bit more of that fruitiness to it versus just the patchouli. I think the patchouli really gets you right in the beginning, but as it dries, it's actually a much more pleasant, like fruity, but also floral scent. It's quite powerful. It smells like money. Like, I think it really depends on your chemistry. I think on some people it could smell mature. On some people you could get more of that kind of like fruitiness. It's very fruity and like a slight hint of rose. So if you like Armani C, I've never smelled Armani C, so I don't know. Like everything that I've ever tried from them that is supposed to be inspired by something else smells exact. Let's go ahead and get into the video. I hope that you guys enjoy. I will have everything linked down below that I used, or it'll be on the view products button right here, either or. I'm just gonna go straight in with my primer. This is the Lottie London. This is like I think it's under 10 bucks, and it's actually hydrating, but even if you have oily skin, it's so thin and lightweight. So it does a really good job of like making your skin have like a really pretty glow, but it's kind of cooling in a way, but it just looks so good underneath foundation. Then I go in with the Rare Beauty primer. This is their illuminating primer, and I just take one pump and I put this just on the top part of my face. And I don't have any lights on right now. I just am sitting in front of the window, and this is how I do my makeup. I never do my makeup with artificial lights because I don't think that you get the true color when you have artificial lights and you're doing your makeup. Every time I've done my makeup with artificial lights, I'm like, I don't like it. Like I feel like I put too much blush on or I put too much bronzer. So I always just sit in front of, I have a small little window, but it gives me enough light to like actually see like what I'll look like in real life. Also, look what Jay did for me. He put me, like my little intro thing, on the screen so it doesn't look so black. What I've been doing lately is I've been mixing 2N26 from the HD Skin Hydra Glow with the Very Valentino Light Lasting Perfecting Foundation in MA5. I just self-tanned last night, so I'm gonna do 3 pumps of the MA5 from Valentino and then 3 pumps of the 2N26. The 2N26 is just a little bit lighter. They're both a very thin, runny formula, so these sit so well on the skin. This combo is like literally just so beautiful because the Valentino gives you a little extra coverage. Like there's like so much on my finger. It gives you a little extra coverage than the Makeup Forever, but the Makeup Forever makes it really skin-like. So it basically just like goes into the skin and it just looks so natural and like glowy, covered. You are someone like me who is getting older. I'm gonna be 39, you guys, in July. It's creeping up real quick. I have like little, you know, fine lines and wrinkles and crevices, but I also have breakouts. So it's a real struggle. By putting the illuminating primer down first as well, there's like a hair stuck on my freaking face. This hair is not working out for me right now. By putting that illuminating primer down first, it really does keep the glow coming through so that you still look really luminous and youthful. I don't have to blend out the foundation too much down my neck because I did just self-tan, so. And I self-tan my whole neck and face. Sometimes I don't. If I have like active breakouts, then I won't self-tan my neck, simply because that's where my breakouts are, and so I'll kind of just leave it so that there's like nothing to like annoy my zits any more than, you know, what's already happening. But do you see how pretty the skin looks? It's honestly just so gorgeous. They discontinued this specific one. They have like another one with like a ball kind of applicator, but I don't think it's as good. I just don't know why companies do this to me. I just think it's rude. Like, personally, if you have a good product, why get rid of it, you know? Like, even if it is the same formula and it comes in the ball, which I don't think it is the same formula, but it's not the same because I like this wand. It's just so perfect. I'm just really disappointed in Milk makeup. Normally I go in with the YSL, but I picked up the wrong color because I'm a dink. And I got one that's way too yellow. I was trying to find the pink one, but their numbers are a little bit harder to follow and I couldn't remember which one it was. So I just like, you know, have a bag of returns in my car. And then I always forget. So it's just sitting there waiting to be returned. But do you see how good that coverage is by mixing a little bit of that e.l.f. That e.l.f. Camo Concealer is like, honestly, it's super duper impressive. For the price, the coverage is so good. That's why I only use one dot, because it can look a little heavy under the eyes if you are someone who does struggle with like fine lines and wrinkles or crepiness. I would say go with the YSL over the e.l.f. If you're a little younger, you can probably get away with doing the e.l.f. or if you get like dysport or if your eyes just aren't really your problem. Like, my eyes are not my worst feature as far as aging goes. I age more on my lower part of my face, so my eyes aren't bad. There's a wrinkle that occasionally comes when it's been a while since I've done like Botox or Dysport. I usually just do it once a month, once a year underneath my eyes because I don't really love the way it makes my eyes look. Sometimes I get one really big wrinkle and it goes all the way down my cheek and it's really deep. And so for like that specific one, I will do Dysport like once a year just to get rid of that one because it makes me super mad in pictures. Whenever I smile, all I can stare at is this like one. See how it's starting, but it goes like all the way down to here if I haven't had it for a while. So next I go in with the Laura Mercier Celestial Light, and I just take like a fluffy brush and I basically just start buffing that just underneath the eye where you would like normally put your highlight and then whatever's left. I go into the under eye and then kind of like in this section just like that. So you don't want to like dip into the most product in that section. It's just kind of like whatever is left on the brush. But it does it's a very fine powder. You wouldn't want to do this with any other highlighter other than this. This is technically a setting powder, like it's a loose setting powder that is supposed to illuminate. So it's very, very fine. I wouldn't put this all over my face though because I have really big pores. So because my under eyes are like the only place where I don't have big pores, I can kind of like just do a little bit under there. It illuminates the whole under eye. It smooths it out, it sets it, but then you're left with this really gorgeous glow. And then I go down the nose and just on the tip there, and then right here on my upper lip. I'm still absolutely loving the MAC Give Me Sun. In my opinion, there's just nothing that beats this color. Some just go so muddy on me, some are super ashy and gray, some are like too orange, and I feel like if you're someone who pulls like ashy really easily, then this one is the best because it never looks too orange. It's just a really nice warm tan. There is warmth to it, you know, it's not gonna be like cool toned at all, so you are gonna have warmth, and that is what makes a tan look natural. You know, like most of the time when you have a natural tan, you are kind of like a little bit, not red, but there's a warmth. Or at least for me, when I tan naturally, I get kind of like a warmer color. I like to make sure that my bronzer is matching what color, number one, my self-tan is, but also number two, what I would go naturally if I did get a natural tan. I'm watching Love Island and there's this girl, she always has the coolest bronzer. Like it's almost gray on her and it makes her look ill, and I just want to like yell at her through the TV. And like I've literally just like said, I keep, every time she comes on, she's probably so sick of it. I'm like, why is she using that bronzer? It's so gray. He's probably like, yeah, okay babe, cool. You've literally said this 8 million times, but I really can't stand when I see people, like that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Isn't that pathetic? When people have a cool toned bronzer and it looks ashy, I just cannot stand it. Then I go underneath the lip and then just on the very edges of the side of the nose. Sometimes if I go too far down, it makes my nose look wider, so I really try to stay like almost on the very like bridge, but just to the side of it. Then I take a little tiny triangle brush and I just kind of like do like a little half circle. I like to make sure that it kind of like arches around the kind of like ball of my tip of my nose. Now I'm going to show you my favorite new blush combo, and it is a winner. And these are really affordable, guys. I think they're like $20 or $22. So you're going to take the REM Pinking of You blush. This is their satin matte blush. And you're basically just going to pop that down first a little closer to the eyes. And it kind of just gives you this like really, really soft, cool tone baby pink. But because I have a tan, I do have to warm it up with something warmer. I can't, if you're just fair, you could just do that alone. If you are a little tanner, you would need to go in with the Sun Pop from REM. And I just pop that on top. And this little combo, you still keep that coolness from the Pinking of You. But this adds a little bit of depth and warmth so that you don't look too like cool toned. Isn't that so pretty? It just livens up the face. Then I go in with Hologram from Dior. And this just adds a really, really pretty like sheen. I've been taking the Peach Pie from Huda Beauty. I get a lot of questions about this, whether people should go for the Cherry Blossom Cake or if they should go for the Peach Pie. If you are fair, if you are like a few shades lighter than I am, you're gonna go for Cherry Blossom. If you are my color or a little bit tanner, you're gonna go for Peach Pie. Peach Pie just makes it so that nothing lightens up your tan too much. And it has just a like perfect amount of peach to kind of still help brighten the under eye without darkening it. But sometimes the Cherry Blossom can be too white that it almost makes my shadows look worse. So I found that for me, because I self tan and I do have like a warm color to my skin because of the tanner, the Peach Pie is much more flattering on the skin. So just think about like if you're lighter than me, go Cherry Blossom. If you're my color, or if you self-tan in general, just go Peach Pie. If you're naturally like, you know, a little bit tanner, go Peach Pie. But if you're fair, go Cherry Blossom. It helps fill in all my fine lines. This powder is very, very blurring. but it never really looks like powder. It's really thin. So I just go all over the forehead with this. And you'll see at the end, I will still have a glow that comes through because I did that primer that's hydrating, and because I did the illuminating primer, and because the foundation is pretty like glowy itself. Like that combo is actually really beautiful and glowy on the skin. And we're gonna carve out now. Remember, I am very oily, so I can use extra powder. Okay, and then I always do a little extra under the eyes just because I don't want to get any fallout. This step is usually where I do my lips. I'm gonna do Icon Baby. Literally all I do is sharpen this pencil. It is so freaking creamy that I feel like I'm always sharpening it. Like every single time I go to use it, I have to sharpen it. I'm gonna take my lip plumper. This is my favorite one. It's the Plump It. And it's like, for me, it's the best. I feel like my lamination lasts like a couple weeks and then it's gone. It's so frustrating. And then they're like so unruly, which is really just annoying. So this is the Morphe, what is it, Latte? Cold Brew. So I kind of just like fill in most of the brow. I try to keep the front like pretty sparse so that it looks a little bit like more natural. I had someone the other day leave a comment and they're like, oh, something to do with like your brows look like you got electrocuted. And like, to be fair, they were a bit wild that day. But whenever I read comments like that, I just think, do you not know how to like say things nicely? Or honestly, doesn't matter. It's a freaking eyebrow. Can't you like say it in a nice, constructive way? Like, hey Sam, noticed today that your eyebrows are looking all real bushy, and I just don't think it's as flattering as your normal ones, or whatever. Like, I just don't see the point. Like, what the F is wrong with your brows? You look electrocuted, or whatever the person said. That's what it felt like. I really will never understand why people have to be so mean about the silliest things like an eyebrow. So I basically just like add little strokes. This is the NYX Lift and Snatch in Ash Brown. I don't want to make them look like I got electrocuted though. Okay, so I'm just filling in my little beauty marks with this is the freckle pen from ColourPop. Hi, oh my baby, she's so sleepy. Oh, are you gonna go back to bed? Next, we're gonna go ahead and go in with Fulfilled. This is from Red Aspen. I always go in with the color Balance. I just go right underneath the brow with this. It's like a nice kind of like creamy satin color. So it kind of helps like clean up the brow and like make it really precise. This is the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette, you guys. If you can ever get your hands on it, it's always sold out. If you can ever get your hands on it though, do, because it's so good. There was this couple, and I don't know if it was a new date, I don't know if they'd been dating, I don't know what was going on. I have a feeling it was like a new date. They literally didn't talk. They didn't ever stop looking at their phones. They were just sitting there looking at their phones on this date, and it was like me, I kept looking at Jay, and we were like what the? We were sitting right next to them. They never said a word. It was honestly the most awkward date I'd ever seen, and I was like, what on earth? And my kids like they were like, that was like the worst date ever. And I was like, that's not what you guys want. When you guys get to that age where you can date, that's a big red flag. If the other person is just staring at their phone the entire time that you're on a date with them, you dump them immediately. Like, do not go on a second date. But when it came to the bill, it was really awkward, like the way that they were like, you know, when it's just like, you can tell it's like an awkward situation. So I think that's why it was a first date. Was I could tell she was like trying to get him to pay for it, but then he was like almost annoyed. Like, I think he was like trying at first to like talk to her, and she was like not having it. And so then she was just on her phone the entire time, and then he picked up his phone. And so I think that's why it was like a first date, is because it looked like he was trying to like talk, but then she was just not interested whatsoever. And I think at that point, if you come like immediately on a date, you know, like, this is not my vibe, I think it's politer to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm actually not into this. Like, let's just not even. Because the poor guy, like, it was painful to watch. And I just remember, like, me and Jay were like, oh my God, can you imagine if you were on a date like that? Like, where the person did not even look at you or talk to you. Like, they were just looking at their phone. Oh, and then at one point, she was actually like videoing him and posting it on like Snapchat. And so that's why we're like, this has to be like a first date. Because why else would you be posting like someone like very sneakily from across the table? Like, it was so odd. But we see it all the time. Like, whenever we go out to eat, I always see like couples just like scrolling on their phone the whole entire time. They're not even talking, and I'm thinking, why are you even together? Or why are you even like out to eat? This is supposed to be like a time where you socialize. And like, I don't know, maybe we're crazy. God, it was so much better when I was young, and I think that's when you know you're old. So I think I'm officially old. Also, I'm very stiff when I wake up in the morning. I think you guys probably understand. I think I have a lot of people that are kind of like my age or older that watch me, and I'm assuming like the people that are even older than me probably feel the same. Although I do see like a lot of older people that are just like glued to their phones. I just don't think that it's healthy to like start your day off like immediately going and like looking on social media, or immediately going and like going straight to work without even getting out of bed yet. So I stopped myself from doing it. It's actually been quite nice having my puppy because she is a lot of work. And so like as soon as she wakes up, I immediately have to like take her to go to the bathroom, and I start getting her like food ready, because I have to like boil water and like get her food soft because she's still so little. Like, I don't even touch my phone for like probably the first, oh, I'm sorry. Why aren't you in your bed, you silly Billy? You're in your bed. I don't even touch my phone for like the first hour of the morning, because I'm like going and doing all this stuff, and it feels so much more productive. Like, okay, I didn't just like immediately just like grab my phone. Like, I just don't want to be addicted to it. And I feel like it's so easy to do that, especially when it's your job. Last year was really difficult for me. Like, I had a really, really challenging year. This is the clarity mist from Pixie, especially when you're constantly comparing yourself to everyone, whether it's financially or, oh my God, that person is like growing so much faster than me online, or oh my God, why is their house so much better than me? I think that's what our society is. It's constantly looking at other people and seeing what they have or what they can do or what they look like, and then feeling like this kind of like sense of like disappointment in yourself, or jealousy, or like, why can't I be like that? Or why don't I have that house? Or why is everyone so rich? Or whatever it is. And I feel like that's kind of what was happening to me, is that the first thing I was seeing every single morning was how awesome everybody else was. That's why I was like, I literally cannot do this anymore. Like, I cannot start my day off by looking in my freaking phone and seeing, like, even if I was just hopping on my Instagram just to go and check DMs, you're still gonna see like your first people popping up with their ginormous mansions and their amazing cars and all of this stuff that you're like, why don't I have this? I work hard, like, why? It just seems like for some people it comes easier, and it can kind of get you down. And so I feel like that's why I stopped looking at my phone in the morning, because I just don't think that it's good for me. And I think that it automatically kind of puts you in a bit of a mood for the day. And then you started your day off feeling like absolute crap about yourself. And you feel like you're not good enough, or you're not like as good as someone else, or you've let yourself down, or whatever it is. I will have everything linked, by the way. I feel like I've just been rambling. That was definitely not my intention. This is Fenty Fussy. I've really been loving this one lately. It's so pretty. My last and final step is to take the Lottie London Diamond Bounce Illuminating, what is it called? Illuminating highlighter. And I just kind of like do a little sparkle there. It's really tiny little fine sparkles. And a little bit there. Okay guys, so there is the finished look. So usually I will do one more spray at the end just to give my skin like an extra glow. I just love this clarity mist. It's literally so good. It just like really does a good job of setting your makeup, giving you a nice like hydration to the skin. It's just like so glowing. Like, my skin just looks so pretty. So if you guys are looking for a new combo, give that one a go. It honestly is just so stunning on the skin. And I have oily skin and it still looks really pretty. Do I get oily? Yes, but I always get oily, so I always have to blot anyway. But it doesn't like discombobulate or break down. It just looks oily. I'm actually gonna do my hair now because it's looking rather horrendous. I hope you guys all have a fabulous day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.